Hello and welcome back to Context Needed. Back again with another episode, Wednesday today. We're joined with Ryan and Ollie as usual, if you want to say hello, guys.
Yo.
Hello.
Just a heads up, I'm trying to make an avid note to try not to slur my words today because I was re-listening to Saturdays and I've got a feeling I was a little bit tired because I rushed quite a lot of my words.
You've been drinking. Stop lying to everyone. You know,
Stop
you're not
stop
working.
it,
You're just
it.
day drinking.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
I'm telling them about my problem.
Moving swiftly on from my alcoholic tendencies, we're moving to Ryan's story today.
This isn't a podcast, this is an intervention.
We tricked you.
Wait, this isn't being streamed?
Somebody's going to come through the door. Hi, it's me from CBS. Yeah.
Go on, Ryan.
So,
you start us off.
We'll get into it. Your boy, our Lord and Savior, Jesus of the memes. He's passed on, ascended to the musical world. Joji, better known as he's more for me. He's better known as Filthy Frank. Basically, he's been found out. Yeah. The K-pop stands of Twitter have found him, and then they're like, "This, I can't believe that." You know, it's basically a bunch of little white girls, maybe even Asian girls, and just little girls in general who fetishize Asian men. So they're just over the top about K-pop and all their stars. They're just over the top about anything from Asia. And they're like, oh, we love it. It's like, this is the best thing ever. And so they've basically found out that Joji's made all this.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, some very, very dark,
inflammatory.
Yeah, it's the way he did it is he was playing a character. It was always a character, and always has been. And they basically found that, and they don't understand the idea of satire and jokes, and can't quite comprehend that somebody can play a character. Like you've got Leonardo DiCaprio in Django. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Is he racist? No. Same with Quentin Tarantino. There's a load of people who call him racist because of his films, but he's clearly not. He's trying to portray a story, and this was basically what Joji was doing. Well, George Miller was doing with Filthy Frank, but it was basically just trying to sum up everything that we wouldn't like, the worst of the worst people that you could have, and just make it a character, and then slide it out into the internet. And whilst he did it, he actually made it really successful because it was 7 million subscribers.
It was pretty funny.
It was
then
good
he had
shit.
A couple of channels. It was funny. I loved it. I cosplayed it. Everyone loved it. I mean, if you're sensitive enough to get offended about it, just don't watch it. Simple.
You shouldn't be on the internet.
Yeah, you shouldn't be. You should just lock yourself in a room, to be honest, because I mean, the real world's a thing. But so they basically found him. Instantly, she called him a racist, and then a black person came on and responded and goes, "This isn't offensive. It's it's satire. It's a joke." She then proceeded to tell him that he can't tell her what's racist or not. And he then said, okay, then, well, whatever your opinions just doesn't matter then, because it's just stupid, to even consider that he actually is like this, because he isn't.
No.
But she then proceeded to call him the...
Drop the M-bomb.
No, she didn't use that. She used an old one. She used an old one, so I'm not going to say it. But...
Didn't she... I've only seen...
Raccoon without the RA at the start, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She went in with that. I was like, yo, I've not heard that since primary school.
Yeah, that's an old one.
That's a very southern one.
I saw that one because that one popped up in one of the groups I'm in. But
she's the main person. Like,
is she the main perpetrator?
Yeah. She's the one who's kind of like, and they've all spotted it. They're like, oh.
Yeah, because there was another thing that I did see, and I've completely forgot what it was ever since we've talked about the raccoon comment. So just carry on with what you were saying. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like she calls this guy racist. So I'll read out. I've got the tweet up now. So she goes, This is after she's posted the original thing saying, look at Joji, he's a monster, he's a mess, And she goes, don't come in my mentions talking about it's just satire. Y'all can't take a joke these days. Man, I don't give a fuck. This shit isn't funny at all, so get the fuck out of here with that. Then she goes, and for you non-blacks coming into my mentions, just get the hell out.
Oh, I've seen that one, yeah.
Say it. You don't get to say in what I find offensive. Well, no, not really, but we're just telling you it isn't made in an offensive manner. And then Jordan, or at J Picante, I believe, I probably butchered that, absolute lad, comes in and he's like, as a black person, my view is that his lyrics are contextual to the character he was portraying. Rather not hear it, but I'm not mad nor willing to cancel him. She then says the previous statement, and it's just like...
You can't complain about racism and then drop a racist slur.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say she's definitely from Asia, but she's got a picture. I presume it's a picture of herself, and she's clearly Asian. And I think it's very rich coming from Asia, where I think
racism is in the highest point.
Racism is a massive problem there. Even Joji speaks about it because he was I believe his dad was from Australia and his mother was from Japan, or vice versa, either way. You're viewed as some sort of fucking alien when they're there. And most of the time it's like, it's not in a horrible way. But it's just this just it spaffs just like it's just unbelievable how people can talk about it.
Hasn't he had like gigs or something cancelled because of this?
I've not seen anything about gigs being cancelled, but to be honest, at the moment, you can't really say anything about why gigs are being cancelled because we're in such a situation.
Yeah, it's just I just remember reading somewhere someone was basically trying to. I can't remember the tweet. I can't remember who posted it. I can't remember where I saw it. But I'm sure I remember reading somewhere that someone was saying that they didn't want him to have gigs in their town or something. They said he doesn't deserve it because of this horrible person that he is. But it's like, it's just a character.
Which town's this? Is this probably some backwash piece?
I'm not sure. It's just, again, I can't quite remember where I saw this stuff because it went crazy in one of the groups I'm in. But it was one of those things, it moved so quick, I didn't really get to keep up with it. But it's just like, at the end of the day, it's just a character, and it was a character in his past. It's like...
He's gone. He's literally put posts out saying this was a character. He wrote a book. Well, I'm not going to quote on who's exactly wrote it, but from what I can tell, it's written by him. I've not read it all the way through, but it literally says, this is fiction. This is nothing. This isn't me as a person.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just the daftness. Everybody think like nobody likes context anymore unless it's to do with them.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, cherry picking facts, basically.
Yeah. And you get it a lot more, obviously, on the liberal side where they're like, oh, but he said this. It's like, well, it's a character here.
And context is needed.
Context is always needed.
Frankly, I just... I've had my laugh at it. And I've kind of just gone, nobody cares because it's a K-pop stan, and K-pop stans on Twitter are quite possibly the just foulest group of people ever.
They're very venomous from what I've seen. Very venomous.
You'll be there. Somebody will
really
completely unrelated to K-pop, and some fucking retard will come on there and be like, but just look at this boy. It's like, nobody cares about...
Look at this boy!
That one K-pop band. Nobody cares who he is.
Look at my baby boy! Look at his little chin.
Well, they're just so obsessed, and it's like me coming out and being stupidly obsessed about like S Club 7 randomly, just constantly posting on it. Like people put a post up about something completely different. I just come in, I'm like, just look at S Club 7. Look at them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just look at them.
Because is it similar to like the idol culture in Japan, but just a lot more?
It's nearly exactly the same. It's nearly exactly the same.
Yeah,
they're the idol and the boy band cultures in Asia are
insane,
disgusting in my eyes. I think if we look at it from the ideas of like, you're not allowed to get married, you're not allowed to do this. And don't get me wrong, they've signed a contract, so it's down to them if they're going to do it. You know, you've signed the contract to say you're not going to do this as part of your job.
Role.
So
didn't
part of
that
me is like,
happen
well,
at one point? There was I remember reading one thing.
Left a girls' idol band. Yeah,
It was AKB48, and they had.
There's 48 of the fuckers.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, but one of them got caught. One of them got caught leaving a love hotel with a guy, and it was found out that it was her boyfriend, and she wasn't allowed to have one because they have to have this pure image. And she had to do this massive thing where she had to like apologize to all her fans publicly, and she like broke down crying because of it. She had to leave him and all this. It's like, fucking hell, seriously. It's like, it's just a guy, and it's mental.
There's this crazy kind of culture with just being pure, and especially in Japan, I've heard in like the porn industry, like your first film is, you know, you get paid fucking loads.
That's from the interview with Kaho Shibuya, isn't it? That Anime Man does. She explains
think so.
that.
I've not watched it all the way through. I've not seen it myself, but I've seen like articles on it. But basically, it's like, because there's this pureness, but then as soon as you lose that pureness, I mean,
your value drops annoyingly.
They're still very, not right wing, but very conservative over there. They're still very like up close with culture and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I mean, like, it's created what they are today, and there's a lot of awesome stuff that comes out of it. I mean, like, I don't think you'd get as like smutty and just ridiculous anime as you do if they weren't if they weren't in a position where.
But then they censor it.
Oh well, yeah. Well,
although there is a minister that's trying to get the censorship removed.
Well,
because
how do I back this man?
Well,
what is behind this pixel?
Well, it's
I
just
think that's it. It's like they show literally everything else, and the context of it all. It's just like, what are you really hoping?
Well, it's one of those things where
it's just lines.
Yeah. It's one of those things, though. I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to pull, because obviously their birth rates are dwindling
down as hell,
and their population is dwindling as well because of it. So
they're all fucking virgins.
Yeah, he's trying to put in basically a thing where
what a bunch of weebs.
I think from what I'm reading,
look at these anime watching virgins. A whole country of them.
I remember reading where it was like, the way he's trying to do it, he's trying to put it down to like, because people don't have the time with the workforce, and because everything is censored and hidden in their media and their entertainment, when it actually comes down to it, no one understands it and everyone's confused about it in their like culture. So he's trying to.
How does the dick work?
Well, he was stating, like, I think it was either another podcast I was watching or it was a video I was watching, and it was about this guy. It was going a bit in depth into like the stuff he was using. I'm sure he was citing like actual like facts and figures from like what is it when you go and polls and stuff like that, where you get the information from people like a censor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he's got information like that, and it's just stuff like, oh, are you a virgin? It's like there's the virgin rates are like all the way up to like 30 years old, 40 years old, and then they'll ask them things like based off of this scale, like, why is it are you not doing it? Is it because of work? Is it because you're not able to get with anyone? Is it because you don't understand it? And the staggering...
Is it because you have small pee-pee?
Well, the staggering thing is that the number of people that said they just don't understand it and they don't see the point of it was staggeringly high. And that's where that was the danger, because they don't see the point in having a relationship because it just takes up too much of their time when all their time goes to their work.
But surely, what about just fucking? Like, do they not just? I mean,
no, because they don't have the
time. Everywhere else.
I've heard things like I watched this guy called Tokyo Sam, and he lives over in Tokyo. He's an American. He teaches kids over there and stuff, but he does YouTube like in his part time on it.
A bit like abroad in Japan.
Yeah, a bit like him, but he's a little bit more kind of. Abroad in Japan's very kind of a bit more professional.
Oh, is this guy a bit more critical?
He's a bit more just kind of like fun. Like, well, I wouldn't say that obviously Abroad in Japan's videos aren't fun, because I think they're just as good. I think it's just like he's a completely different character to him.
Yeah.
So like the way he acts, he's just a little bit more loud. Like he's American, so he's a bit more kind of like out there with everything.
More
But
expressive.
he was saying that like you go over there and as a white man or a person from a different country, you can go over there and it's really easy to get laid because one, the Japanese girls are trying to like train themselves on their English. Two, it's just like they just rather go with somebody who's genetically more likely to have something
statistically more likely to have a larger penis.
Endowed, more well endowed. I think we just need to stop going over there, really. I think we're the problem.
We are the problem.
And the thing is you could go over there and you could just have like a normal sized dick, but to them it could be like fucking huge, like from what they experience.
You talking about how like, oh, a white guy can go over there and pretty much get anyone, reminds me of a story when I was over there as how I probably could have, but obviously I was engaged at the time. Because I was literally, I think it was...
Goddamn engagement!
When I went out there, I think it was my second day there, and there was a bar just down the road from the hotel I was staying, and it's always very weird when you're in Japan because it's never a Japanese... It wasn't a Japanese bar, it was a Spanish bar.
Well.
So,
is there unless there's an English pub with dogs on the wall playing snooker?
I had a very funny situation where I was in Shibuya in a Irish bar drinking a German beer, listening to an American singer.
Quality.
How multicultural can you get? But anyway, going back to the story, so I was in the Spanish bar, and I was just sitting at the bar drinking, and I was talking with the bar staff because some of them spoke English, some of them not so much, but I spoke kind of broken Japanese, so we was able to have little conversations. And this, what I can only describe as a Japanese cougar, came from one of the restaurant seats and sat at the bar. Maybe like, not the seat next to me, but the seat over. In Japan, you're able to smoke in the bars and things like that, so I was smoking because I like to smoke on holidays anyway, so I was smoking when she came over. She sat down and she was talking with the bar staff. I was talking to the bar staff and she started talking to me. She didn't speak very good English, but we had this like conversation that was about like certain drinks and stuff like that, and then she offered me a cigarette. We had the cigarette, and
she wanted Gaijin dick.
For basically what I can only explain is it felt like she was really trying hard to get some kind of interest from me. And it was one of those things where it's like I had to be interested. I didn't want to be rude to her, but I couldn't have interest in her because obviously I was engaged. I'm married now. It was like I couldn't really push that way, but I've got a feeling if I just took even slightly more interest and even maybe did the alpha move of moving to the seat next to her, I could have probably very easily gone to a different hotel that
night. They're the things, though, you've got to watch out for. Because I was... Tokyo Sam talks about it. There's cougars as such, Japanese ones, who will start talking to people in the States, in the UK, English people, mainly. It's usually English-speaking people from what I can tell.
Yeah.
Just foreign people in general. What they basically do is they get them to come over and then they have a kid, then they have to get married and they basically trap them, basically living with them. Basically so they can become a housewife, I think it usually is. Don't quote me on that though. Like I can't remember exactly what he said in the video. Obviously I've only got this from one source, but I wouldn't like say he's lying because why would you lie about that? Like, yeah, it might have done, but so basically it's like they get him in and then these lads are stuck with him and they married him now and like they can't just go out and have fun. And the lads are like my age, 22, 23. And it's like this 40 going on 50-year-old Japanese woman they're married to and they're stuck. It's bizarre.
How does that happen? Because like, I mean...
Just talking to them online and then like, obviously...
You get attached.
Yeah, like,
I don't know, like... It just seems strange, the concept of like a young lad in his 20s going over and just like marrying an older Japanese woman. I'm sure it happens occasionally, but it sounds like it happens enough that it's like a known phenomenon.
Yeah,
kind of
that's
thing.
what I mean.
It just seems strange to me.
I want to know how the visa situation works in there, because I know we have open visa with Japan from the like original kind of period when they finally opened the border. They only opened the border to like Germany, America, and the UK, I think, for like trade and visits. And because of that, we're able to visit now for I think up to 90 days, as long as we don't work, with no visa, no like paid pass or anything like that. So it's like, surely if you go over there, get someone pregnant, you can't just all of a sudden marry them and stay. Surely there's something going on with the visa there that has to be changed.
Yeah, there's something that there's the ways they do it. I'm not 100% sure. Like I say, don't quote me on this, but it seems
Try it.
It might break that 1,000 day period.
Personally, I can't see it not being a thing that happens, because I know I've spoken to people in the past from abroad, not from Japan, obviously, but from different countries where there's genuinely been interest in each other. Where it could have probably, like, if one went over and visited either way, you know, it could have led to stuff, and like obviously it'd taken a while, but you know, who knows how it goes. But I don't think it's like stupidly common, but I think it's common enough for like it to be more of a kind of blokes thing, where blokes kind of go, "Oh, watch out, you know, she's doing that or he's doing that," and then it's something that you might hear like housewives talk about, like a bit gossipy, but it's stuff that actually happens. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I can't say it exactly.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that kind of thing happening, because obviously you do have the thing where it's like people will try like mail order brides and stuff, but there's usually like, I know over here when you get married, we had to do 2 interviews before we was allowed to marry. One that was a couple of months, one that was, I think we had to do it 90 days before the wedding, I think it was. I can't remember off the top of my head, but we had to it was just basic questions like, I had to answer her for what her name was, what her date of birth was, what colour her eyes were. It was just very, very simple things, just to basically make them understand, I do know who she is and I do want to marry her. But then you had to do...
Is your missus not English? Or not like, is this just something that happens for everyone?
This is what happens in the UK. I don't know what marriage stuff happens in different countries, but this is what happened to me when I was getting married. And then on the day of your wedding, you have to do the interview again, and they're able to basically stop your wedding and your marriage at any point. But as well, I think when you do, say it was like I had a girlfriend from America coming over, and she wants to marry me and stay over here. I've got a friend who's potentially dealing with this currently. I've got a feeling they ask more in-depth questions just to make sure that she's not coming over to get a visa just to get the visa. So I'm wondering if it did happen where, say, you was to go across to Japan, get someone pregnant, and marry them, they'd definitely question you, but it wouldn't surprise me if those questions would be based off of, like, how did you meet each other, what's your history together? Maybe if there was some kind of, like, oh, you've been talking to each other for a year, you're friendly, you've had a child, and you want to actually help support each other, then it'll probably be something they'd try and maybe put in an emergency visa. I'm not sure, but... It's probably it's a bit crazy.
I didn't know they did this questioning shit. I mean, if they start questioning me, I'm going to be fucked, because I'm not going to be able to remember anything.
Well, this was the thing. I literally had to drill it.
I'm sure you'd remember eye colour and name and age.
Well, the thing, I had to drill it into me, her date of birth, because I'm fucking useless with date of birth. So I forget my own date of birth.
I'm okay with that.
I'm shit. I just don't
mine doesn't get much easier to remember, to be fair.
Well, yours is very, very easy to remember.
Yeah,
I think with me, I'd be fucked, because I don't like, you know, people are like, oh, they remember every date of everything that happened, like, you know, anniversary. I'm fucked when it comes.
No, I'm
that.
terrible with that kind of thing.
Like, there's a reason my anniversary is engraved on my wing.
Shit. I don't know. I'm just going to be fucked. I'm never going to be able to get married. Let's just put it that way, because I'm never going to be able to answer any of these questions.
Yeah. Right. There's a reason my wedding anniversary is engraved on the inside of my ring. It helps me remember.
Yeah. What's your ring made of, though? Is it gold?
Platinum.
Ah, that's all right then. I was just so that won't rub away. I say if it's gold, it's like, well, that's gonna be gone in a few years.
Yeah, I detest gold. Like, I understand gold is like what a lot of people like aspire to have, but gold is common as fuck in my opinion.
It's not. It's actually rarer than diamonds. Gold.
Yeah, well, that's because the only reason diamonds are so expensive is because they're all held by the same. They're common as fuck, but they're held by one company, De Beers Diamonds.
Yeah, De Beers.
Yeah,
sorry. That's it. But like gold is fairly rare, but it's more so just like I don't know. I wouldn't be bothered by a gold ring, but like I want like I'd like a titanium ring or like a tungsten ring or something like that, like an interesting material.
Yeah.
But Zinks when you put your hand in the washing up bowl. Fuck!
Depleted uranium.
Yes.
Unless it's the one ring, I'm not interested. Let's just put it that way. Unless you come to me and you start reciting the Black Speech of Mordor, I ain't bothered. I ain't marrying you. Let's put it that way.
If you don't disappear when you put the ring on.
That'll be me
man.
at the altar. Fucking wrong. I made a mistake.
So we had a funny moment because obviously it was Ollie's brother Tom was my best man, and when he was handing over the rings to me, the ring to me to put onto my wife's finger, as he passed it over, we had the biggest static shock ever. Like it literally, you heard it go, like you heard the snap, and both of us go, what the hell was that? And there's literally like, I think it was yesterday, like I have all my wedding pictures as my desktop backgrounds, and I was just turned on my computer yesterday, and the picture was that. It was us literally, what the hell was this kind of thing?
I need to see that picture.
I'll find it for you after the podcast. It's funny. It's just us like laughing, like what the hell just happened? But I think it happened exactly the same to Becky as well. And we was worried that she'd like drop the ring or something.
Tom was just like carrying a taser with the rings, just like
just charging it up before he gives it. You're like,
oh man! I don't know if it's just like the weather, like because obviously it's been a bit drier recently and quite warm. I've been getting a shitload of static shocks lately. I don't know about you guys, but like I just keep getting them. Like every time I touch Danny, I seem to give her a static shock.
I get them every time I get out of my car.
I never get it from my car. Never get it on the car.
I do, not really. Not anymore.
See, when I'm in the car, it's fine. As soon as I get out the car and touch the door to shut the car, I get a static shock.
Get one.
And it's even stranger because
the odd one, but
unless I touch the middle of the glass, I still get a shock.
I have that issue when I'm getting my
my
hairdryer out of the bonnet.
Your hair? What was? I missed that. What did you say? Sorry.
I said I have that issue when I get my hairdryer out the bonnet.
Oh yeah, in your hairdresser's car.
My hairdresser's car.
Have you got a sticker on yours that says no hairdressing equipment kept in this car overnight? Because if not, you need to buy one.
I'm gonna get one of those. God damn it! I'm gonna get those.
I used to take the piss out of a guy who used to work with who had an Audi TT. I used to take the piss out of saying it was a hairdresser's car. And I used to always say to him, "Oh, so when are you going to get the weight reduction kit?" He's like, "What do you mean weight reduction kit?" "Oh, you just need to take your hairdresser tools out the back." And I think he used to get so annoyed by it, but the thing is, it's like it's just your car, and you getting annoyed by it is making me want to tease you more about it,
even more.
And it got to the point where he went to his manager to tell him to tell me off, and then his manager took the piss out of him.
I remember, like a friend of my dad's called my MR2 a hairdresser's car. It's just like, what?
The mighty cheese wedge.
I don't care.
The mighty cheese wedge.
I just don't care. Like, why would I care? Like, people are so fucking hell bent on trying to make it. Like, if you enjoy the car, enjoy the car. Like, if
I love it because
you turn around every time you park your car and you look at it and you go, I like that car.
Yeah.
Don't matter.
Well, it's funny because I'm in a lot of like off-roading groups. There's a lot of people from like the UK, Europe. There's also a lot of Americans, and obviously in America, obviously they've got a lot more open land and much bigger off-road trucks. They're used to like fucking V8 Chevys and big, huge straight six Jeeps and stuff. And then I'll post this little tiny 1.3 Jimny, which is probably about as capable as them, which is a funny thing. But like they're always, oh, it's girly. That's a little toy car. It's like, yeah, but it's really good. Like,
Yeah, but you know that engine.
It's a lot tighter here.
Yeah, but it's just one of those.
it will never die.
Yeah, that engine that you've got in your big V8 Chevy, you know the one that's so heavy that it makes you sink into mud that I will just drive over?
Yeah. But so, yeah, just... it's like comparing... The what?
Like, their mentality is just big is better. And
Yeah.
Yes.
Just...
Wait, so do you
Which in
remember
some cases...
Do you remember there was the episode of Top Gear, there was the special they had where they went somewhere and Richard Hammond had that car he called Oliver? And there was driving over the salt flats, and all the others.
Botswana special.
Yeah, everyone else was sinking in the salt flats, and he was just skipping across it like it was nothing because his car was so light.
He kept that car. He's still got it.
Still got it apparently.
So
yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's the same concept. Just light car, doesn't sink in mud.
Yeah.
Just cheap. It's easy.
On the note of actually Top Gear, and also linking to the idol kind of culture, have any of you watched? There was Our Man in Japan on Amazon Prime with James May.
I haven't watched it yet, but I want to watch it.
I think I'm about halfway through. I haven't watched it for a while, but there's one brilliant one where it shows the kind of craziness of the idol culture, because he was explaining how they basically make idol groups for very, very specific audiences. So he went to an idol concert that was at 8:30 or 7:30 in the morning.
It wasn't like an idol. That wasn't idol, because that was like a boy band, wasn't it? I think I know what you mean. It's like in the second episode.
Yeah.
And they dress him up like...
Yeah, they give him a makeover.
They give him a makeover. And then he just comes out in his own clothes.
He's like, I'm done.
Part of me, like, with those shows, I really want to watch them and love them. But part of me is just like, James May isn't as bad, but I know they did one on the BBC, and it just felt so fake.
Yeah, a lot of it's very
like,
forced.
When you watch the YouTubers doing it, it's like these people literally live there.
Yeah.
It's like I watch Simon and Martina, and they do a load of food reviews, and they go around. Obviously, I watch Tokyo Sam. I watch a bit of Abroad in Japan, and they live there, so that it's like it feels more natural. Yeah. And I think that's what I'm after. I want to see what it actually like to live there.
The thing that pisses me off most about a lot of these like shows where they give you like an insight into Japan, the things that piss me off most is near enough every single one of these shows always does this fact about how you can get women's underwear from vending machines, which isn't true. You can't.
Well, you can get underwear, but it's not somebody's underwear.
Yeah, there's clothing vending machines for like I'm running. I need a spare shirt kind of thing, or you can go to like Don Quixote or something, which is basically like $100 shop for shirts. But the used underwear thing comes from, I think there is a vending machine possibly in Akihabara where it is underwear that is made to look used. That's what it's designed for. It's not
you couldn't legally sell it.
Yeah, you're not legally allowed to sell it. But it's just like...
I feel like the kind of intention behind that is quite like close. Okay, yeah, it's not actually used underwear, but I feel like
the intention's still disgusting.
It's a very specific kink. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's still very much selling underwear to people who want used underwear, like.
But they're too afraid to go steal it themselves, so they're doing it the beta way and paying for it rather than being an absolute alpha and stealing some.
This is why Japan ain't getting any sex. This is why there's no fun. Yeah. It's because they're betas.
They're all too worried about pants rather than actually getting what's in the pants.
Yeah.
It's a serious matter, though. That is, I mean, like. They've not got enough people. We've got too many. Do you reckon?
I think your odds are pretty high if you went over there, Ryan.
I know. I'm saying, just move over there. I've actually contemplated moving over there at times. Like I've thought about it. I don't know how I'd do it.
Jet program. That's what I tried to do. So it's basically what a lot of people use to get over there, and that's what Abroad in Japan used to get over there. And it's literally Japan Exchange Teachers Program. So I went through the application. I didn't ever get to the interview process, but you go through, and it's basically you go over there to be an assistant learning teacher, an assistant English learning teacher, and you're there just to help them with like pronunciation and grammar and things like that. And a lot of the application is based on things like, how are you going? How are you going to keep?
I'll be there, still teaching them. It's cock just for the laughs.
It's a cool like exchange thing to do, and I was going to do it and basically go over there for like maybe like a year or two, but I never got past the to the interview process, and I've got a feeling, one, I've got tattoos and piercings, and obviously the Japanese are very, very kind of like about that stuff. And two, I applied at the same point as we had like all the teachers losing jobs. So it wouldn't surprise me if like all the teachers who just lost their jobs, like, well, sorry, I'll just go teach in other countries, and just did that, so I wasn't able to go through with it. That's definitely definitely worth looking.
It's something that's interested me. Like I've jumped back on my Japanese learning, but I've got a lot to learn. I want to get like a proper lessons from somebody, and I was actually planning on doing it this year, but obviously,
you can do evening classes at University of Nottingham, because that's where I started learning. And
I used to work there, so
yeah. But that's
what campus did you do it on?
The Highfields campus.
Highfields.
The one across the road from the Queen's Med.
You mean that's the don't be a knob.
What's happening, Ryan?
Why is it always my house? No, I'm alright, thank you. Go off.
It's like a green cake.
Why are the fucking angel slices?
Turn that back on.
Oh, I don't know. I like the pink mood light.
Pink mood light. Yeah. So that's the Jubilee campus. That do you know what? Actually, it wasn't the best paying place to work, but it was definitely one of the most chill places I've ever worked. Like I didn't enjoy the role because I was an evening shift guy, so I was just walking around doing tests the majority of the time.
Yeah,
but it was nice. It was calm. Like there wasn't loads going on all the time, unless there was like a big problem like kicked off. It was just, and I was walking around a lot. I did enjoy it there. It's a very nice campus.
Yeah, it's very open.
I think like.
Go on, Ollie. Sorry.
I would like. I was just gonna say on the whole subject of like teaching. Like part of me would like to be a teacher. Like since I've been at college, just because I'm doing the course for work. I mean, I can already do all the work, so a lot of the time I'm helping like a lot of these younger students with the course, and like even the staff have said that like I'm quite good at it. But at the same time, it's like, God, some teenagers are fucking bellends. They really are.
And
I don't know if
it's the issue, isn't it? It's something I've thought about, but I wouldn't be able to keep my cool with some of those dicks.
No, I couldn't. I absolutely couldn't.
They'd be out of my classroom if like the teachers nowadays have got, there's not got any backbone behind them.
I don't know about that. Some of the ones at the college are pretty.
At colleges, it's different. Yeah, at colleges, it's different.
Spot on. The problem lies with the parents the majority of the time because they're not getting told off at home.
Well, the issue, I think one of the other issues as well is
bring back the cane. That's all I'm saying.
No, because the cane has been proven to actually make things worse. The cane is proven in studies to make people much worse. It's the same with like if your kid's playing up and you smack it. It's proven statistically that doesn't help the situation. If anything, it actually makes them become a worse person at the end of time. At the end of the day, I'm not saying that as individually because I had it to me. It's obviously as a statistical standpoint that can happen. That's why.
Were you at school when the cane was still a thing?
I'm not that fucking old. Jesus.
I've been hit as a kid. I was just about to say, and it looked really weird because I just started laughing to myself. But if you hit them hard enough, they're not going to be a problem ever again. I'm just saying. Just make sure you can dig in a big enough hole in your garden, and you're safe.
I think my parents.
I was only going for tapas.
But the first thing I did was write down where they were. Oh man, that's a subject for another day. That
Yeah,
is,
we're not getting.
Let's not get into that now. But that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah,
sure.
going back with like the schools and stuff. Like, I think the issue with a lot of the schools and colleges at the minute is they have targets, like crazy targets. Like they need to get so many people passing, and they need to get so many people with these marks. So it's like at the end of the day, all the places in the world that should not have targets, schooling and education systems are one of them. Because all that happens if it's like, oh, we need to have at least 15 A students, they're just going to focus on 15 students that can be A's. Because it's the issue. It's the issue with a lot of schools. With the people I talk to, basically they say they only focus on the high flyers. And when I was in my school, the way I saw it was they would focus on high flyers, so people that was going to get good marks, and they would only focus on the people that were the lowest of the bunch. Because the people in the middle aren't going to change their average targets. It's the people at the top and the people at the bottom. So they're the only ones they'd focus on. And that's the issue. Whereas if there was no targets, it would just be, this is your grade, this is what you've got, you work at it now.
Yeah, I guess I bounced about in the middle quite a lot, and I was just like...
I was going to say, it's kind of easy to forget, but like, when a lot of it boils down to it, schools are still businesses. When you think about it, like
not all of them.
Not all of them. Some are obviously state-run, but a lot of them, obviously, they're still schools. Of course, they are.
You're thinking more of
private schools,
academies,
yeah,
and private schools.
My secondary school, it was just a secondary school, but like there was still a sense of that kind of thing there. It wasn't an academy or anything like that. It was literally just a.
The teachers are being judged more on their numbers, like you're getting in every role now. So for me, it's more how many tickets can you close, how many calls can you take. That's the problem. Everyone's just so wound up about statistics. It's like, no, especially with kids, like we're saying, it's not about statistics. It's about finding out what that kid wants to do and giving that kid skills.
Don't make them another statistic, because then it's not going to help. Go on, Ollie.
I was going to say, did any of you come out of school A, knowing all what you wanted to do with your life, and B, with like given anything that was, apart from obvious, let's exclude things like core skills like maths and that, but like for me, when I was coming out of school, secondary school, it was like maybe 2 months before we were finishing, or maybe our GCSEs, I can't remember exactly, but it was actually like, by the way, here's all the available colleges in the area, pick one and make sure you pick all your, here's all the courses that you need to pick, you need to do it by the end of today. Just one day. So it's like I had to make a huge decision out of nowhere on a day for A, what college I was going to, and B, what courses I was going to do. I had no fucking idea what I wanted to do. I remember back then, I think I was kind of interested in joining the Air Force. Well, obviously that didn't happen. So I went to college for the first time. Didn't really know what I was doing and what I wanted to do, and I did terribly. I dropped out before I finished. Then a few years later, I tried university, still not really knowing what I wanted to do. This was, I think this was just before the car throttle stuff.
Was that the what was
Open University? It was.
Yeah, I remember this. I remember which course she was doing. Yeah, now.
So obviously, I did a year and a bit of that. Realised that the course I was doing, like even if I do finish it, there's not really any jobs in the field, and it was just going to be more debt, and I wasn't really enjoying it. So then I dropped out of that. So at this point, I mean, I think I've got level 5 qualifications now, which is okay, to be fair. They're like somewhere between an A level and a degree, basically. They're kind of in that weird ground between them.
They're being considered the first year of a university course, usually.
Yeah. Well, that is it. That's it. But that's it. So then I obviously went with car throttle, and none of my qualifications applied to that. I just kind of winged it into that job. Pretty much had the job, but then I left for obviously other reasons. And then it was just like, okay, yeah, now I'm a sheet metal fabricator. I didn't do anything in school or college remotely to do with that. I was never particularly interested in it. It's like, but that's what I do now. And it's like, it doesn't feel like the education system in that regard really helped me, apart from obviously giving me the core skills, but I don't feel like it at all prepared me for moving on. It was just like, here's some skills, fuck off. That's what it felt like.
I think I was very lucky because I found what I wanted to do my first year of secondary school. I was very lucky in that aspect because I started drumming lessons in my first year of secondary school. Went through, there was 2 teachers. We had one guy that came for one lesson then never turned up to teach again, so he got sacked. And then there was another guy that just never turned up, so he got sacked. And then we had this third teacher who I haven't been able to contact for ages. I don't even know if he's still living anymore because he was quite old when he taught me. It was a guy called Mike Finch. He's this old drum teacher. He used to be in the army as one of the musicians. And then he moved into actually like full drum kit stuff, and I learned with him all the way through my secondary school life, and it was doing that made me realise I want to go into music, I want to do instrument stuff, and I was lucky having that. I was able to go from there, right, I've got my GCSE done, now I need to find the college. Found the college because I knew the guy who ran it because I went to his music school. Then I knew that I wanted to go into university. The only thing I had to redo was GCSEs because I fucked them up royally. But
that's common though, loads of people have that.
But I think the thing that annoys me most is like, why the fuck am I learning stupid shit? Like, we had a class called PSHE, which was just about like, it was like sex education and drugs, and then by the end,
so when you go out, you shouldn't be racist, should you, kids? No, miss.
It was like the last 2 years of that we had. They were just teaching us stuff like debating skills and things like that. It's like, I'm sorry, but that's not going to help me in the real life. How about, for the last 2 years of PSHE, you teach me things like how to do taxes, how to untaxes,
that's what everyone I've met has said.
How to understand interest rates and things like that.
If they're teaching debating rules to people, they're not doing a fucking good job, because there's a lot of people nowadays who can't debate at all because they just can't accept anybody else having a different view to them.
Yeah.
But I say, like, you were very lucky because you actually know what you want to do, Kyle. Like, I still don't know exactly what I want to do.
Oh, the only reason I've got the job that I'm in now is through literally, I think, like, maybe 8 years of flip-flopping back and forth, because like we said with you, Ollie, you've been back and forth. I literally went through all my university, worked at McDonald's for ages, then went to a fucking a credit checking company working on their phones. Fucking hated that. Ended up going back to McDonald's again, and then ended up going to, luckily, the job that I was in for a while of doing IT at a game studio. Then I left there because I was having issues. Then I ended up working in a pub for a bit, left there because I went to your place for, a month and a half? And now I'm where I am now. So it's not been a straight journey, it's been a bit of a roundabout one.
Yeah, I mean, like, I left school at 16. I'd put my name down for sixth form, but I wasn't going to go to sixth form. I didn't like school, I didn't like the teachers, I didn't want to go to a college. Luckily, my mum mentioned to me where the council where I first worked, she mentioned they got an apprenticeship going, so I applied for that. I filled in a form, told them what goes inside a computer, and then I did an interview. Did really well in the interview, to be honest, apparently, and got that. From there, I did a year of the apprenticeship. Didn't actually pass any exams within that year, because I was basically just working. I just, like, as soon as they got me trained up, I was just
on the job, basically.
We basically just went through so many members of staff, and then from that, they just went to me like, they said, "Why aren't you applying? We keep putting the role out, and you're just not applying. You know you can do this." And I'm like, well, I didn't know if I was allowed to at this age, because it says like you have to still be in full education, doing whatnot. So they said, you just do it, and we'll sort it out. So I applied for that. Got that. There was literally no way anybody else could have got that instead of me, because I was already doing the job. But with that, there was I had to pass one of my exams within there, so I passed the A+, and that's the only exam I have for IT. It's just purely down to experience and skill that I have got any other roles, to be honest, and just knowing what I'm on about and talking about. And I think
you say knowing what you're on about, but really it's just having at least having enough understanding
off
of it.
And on.
Yeah, it's
I'm not very techie.
Mate, I had somebody say that to me again today,
I'm
going to punch you, love. I'm going to punch you. But it's like I feel a bit trapped in the role, because like I've got to this point and I just do the job to survive. I don't do it because I like. Well, don't get me wrong. I don't hate the job, but I don't like love it. It's become more of a, I'm doing this because I've got a car to pay off. I've got bills to pay to live with my parents. I've got everything's got a cost nowadays. So and don't get me wrong. I really want to go into a different role that's something completely different. I can't see a possibility of doing that unless I find a really well paying like trainee role in it or something, or do it in like my part time in this on the side doing something and then it going somewhere. And I feel a little bit trapped in that way, and I wish I'd been able to kind of explore the different options there actually are with jobs, because what they don't tell you at school is what kind of jobs are actually out there. Like, because at school, the only thing I could think of up until the end of school was, there's paper ants and working in a corner shop, which I don't want to do. So I didn't work until I was 16. But then since I've been 16, I've worked my whole life. I've not stopped. So I'm 23 now. So that's nearly 7 years.
So we've got a bit of a mixed bag between us, really, haven't we?
But I think we can all safely say that secondary schools just,
it doesn't prepare you.
It does not prepare you at all.
No,
that's what I was getting at. Really,
kids is, here's the type of roles there are, and like more experience, more showing them what it is. Yeah. Like, because
I think a better way of doing it
takes to do those jobs.
Yeah, I think a better way of doing it, rather than saying to them, "This is what roles there are," just ask them, "What do you enjoy doing?" And even if it's just something, I like drawing things. Well, okay, so in there you've got graphic designer. You've got editing. Yeah. You've got
CAD designer. There's so, just by someone saying they like drawing, then you can really delve deep, because there's so much out there that needs drawing, which you can do. Engineers.
Yeah.
You've got so much, and just having that bit of input with them and trying to go from there might actually help open up a lot more job opportunities for people to understand where they need to go, rather than getting people like a lot of us, where it's like you're just listlessly walking through life. I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah,
no.
It was more so in my school, because my school was a performing arts school. But I think there's actually too much emphasis on performing arts. Don't get me wrong. I think everyone should be able to express themselves and enjoy themselves, and be able to make art in a way that they like and enjoy art and understand it. But I feel like it may have been a little bit more pushed on, obviously, on my side, because it was a performing arts school. But I felt that everyone thought they could be something, and it's like, you can't. Like, to be honest with you, you can't sing for shit, unfortunately. So don't try. Just try a different role.
Well, I was gonna say, with my school, like, I did quite well in school. My GCSEs, I did really well. I didn't really like school, but I'm probably one of those people who annoyingly could just sit there and I kind of just soaked in information. I think I got like 3 A stars, 5 A's, like
you're
B and 2
that
C's,
kind
like
of
that.
dick.
Kick him, Kyle. We don't want him in here.
I'm not common enough. I mostly did fine with like my sciences and maths, and I also did quite good at French as well, and that's because I had a really good French teacher. She was really good. She made it fun.
She had a really nice low-cut top most of the time.
She was about 65, maybe 70, so I mean, not really into that, but
after this, I've got a very funny story about one of my teachers at school, so I do need to let you know that.
Okay, I'll wrap it up quick. But what I was gonna say was, like, so yeah, I really enjoyed science. The point, I've got it tattooed on me. I love science, and like
nerd.
I nerd. All right, weeb. But like, I like my science. I like maths, and obviously, when it came to things like physics is largely just maths and common sense. So I really enjoyed those. Funnily enough, like, I consider myself pretty decent at my job. Like, I mean, today I've been CAD drawing all day today for something that I'm just making for the fun of it. But like, I got a D in DT, not because I didn't like it or I didn't try. I did try. My teacher was just a cunt, and he didn't care. He lost my coursework, And then one of my practical pieces went missing, and he was like, "Oh, you must have lost it." I was like, "Well, I left it here. I left it where everyone else's. Where is it?"
You could
So he went to look for it.
Sue him.
Well, but then I was going to say the best bit is like because what it was, you used to have like the classroom, and then there'd be like a workshop next to it, and then in the back of the workshop there was another door that went into like a staff area that was behind the classroom. And as it happened, my practical piece was in the bin in the staff only area because I would have been walked into the staff only area with my practical piece and thrown it in the bin. So that was from that point I was like, right, fuck you, just like I'm not trying. I took the piss. I even took the piss on the exam and I actually kept my year 10 mock exam, which I'll post into the Discord at some point. But so that's something I enjoyed, and it because of a shitty teacher who couldn't be fucked, that went down. Then my school, you were saying how yours put a lot of emphasis on the performing arts.
It was
our school was really heavy on like English and stuff like that. And I think I managed to be in English. I wouldn't consider myself very good at it. I couldn't write very fast. For some reason, I just can't write. Like I remember my friends would in the hour and a half exam. I think most of my friends said they wrote like 4 or 5 sides of A4, and I wrote maybe 2. Because I just can't. I struggle to write.
I'd be lucky if. I'd be lucky if I got 2 because I can't write like.
Yeah, same here. I struggle to write. It hurts my hands. I don't know why, but like so there was that. But they put really strong emphasis on it. But then there were no life skills. The IT course we did was literally worthless because it was OCR rather than AQA. So when I went to college, they're like, all that IT you did, which at the time as well, most schools weren't doing IT. They weren't doing a GCSE in IT. Like a lot of schools didn't do it. We were the one school that had done a GCSE in IT, but it didn't count. Yeah. So it's just like, why the fuck are you allowed to teach us a qualification which is openly known as being worthless in the education system?
Just quickly with the teachers though, is this just another case where the system's failed? This person
possibly,
I really want to be a teacher, and they've got stuck, and they can't get a role because they're not skilled enough to do the actual role, but they're just skilled enough to teach kids how to do it. I'm not saying.
I'll tell you one thing about that DT teacher. Is happy enough. That DT teacher was happy enough to teach all the fucking girls. I'll tell you that much. He was a right fucking perv. He really was.
That's not to be expected, though, is it? Really, you expect that at all times, though.
There's always one. Every school.
With
my IT teacher fucked a sixth former and got her pregnant.
Good
Probably legal.
Hey, they're married.
From that to you,
they're married. So I don't.
It's funny you should talk about sex because it's kind of linked. It's not someone getting made pregnant in mind, but so obviously schools have food lessons as well, like cookery classes or whatever they call them nowadays.
Where is this going, Kyle?
Yeah, we had food tech. So for the entire time I was at school, we used to just get taught. So when you reach year 9, you have to choose your subjects.
Year 9, you choose your exact. Yeah, you choose.
Yeah, so
ones.
Just in case there is Americans, because in the UK at year 9, you have to pick what subjects you want to learn. So that way, then you can focus in more for your future. Apparently, I obviously didn't pick food, but all the way through up until year 9, for me, we always got taught by this. Grandma style woman. She was just a really nice old lady, and we just
grandma style woman.
Yeah,
not just an elderly lady. The grandma.
She was
style.
20. She was 20. She just dressed like an old lady.
No, she was an elderly woman, but she was a very homely elderly woman. So that's why I say grandma style, because she was very homely.
She was someone's nan for sure.
Yeah. So that was the only thing I had. But I think for the last half of the year, just before our choices were being made, we had a new teacher come in who was much younger, much more attractive, and very well endowed in the chest area, but she also liked to wear low-cut tops.
Interesting.
So,
I wonder why you chose food tech.
I didn't pick food tech. Everyone else did, and food tech got filled up so much so quickly, they had to add another area to pick food tech in those 4 choices so more people could join on. And it was a lot of guys who joined in. But I started to notice something a bit awkward, and we used to talk about it between my friends. So she was very energetic, and I'm not talking like, oh, she's just very happy about her role. I'm talking strangely energetic, and
like almost ADD kind of energetic.
Yes, almost ADD energetic, but near enough every single one of the like dishes she'd teach you to cook or understand involved flour. And I jokingly said to a friend, I bet you she uses flour because she's on cocaine.
No.
Fast forward about 3 years, found out she was on cocaine, and she was able to use flour as her cover, so that then whenever she was doing this, it was just because there was flour on her face, apparently, when no, it wasn't. It was cocaine that she was very poor at removing from her face.
Is this her lifestyle? Like, I became a cook so I could take cocaine safely.
It was just like, holy shit, I was right. She was on cocaine. That's probably why she was so fucking energetic.
Miss, I forgot my flour. Can I borrow some?
Can I have your...
Sure,
No.
there's a bag in the box in the bag.
Just make sure you pick the one on the left.
Which bag is it? Coke, flour.
One's an actual baggie, one's an actual flour bag.
Oh, that's my special.
That was literally.
I think it's just. We didn't have people at my school who were that obsessed with. Well, we didn't really have many fit teachers. There were a selection.
There were a few at mine. To be fair.
Don't get me wrong. There was a few who were attractive, being a performing arts school, but you never heard anybody going, "Oh, I'm choosing this because she's got." You see,
no.
You see, nobody ever said that. Everyone was actually kind of very serious about what they wanted to do, even though we're all a majority of people probably don't have jobs at the moment, and we're all fucked.
Well, it seems like every school had kind of that teacher story. I don't know if your school had one, Ryan. So ours, and I don't know if Tom's ever told you about this, Kyle, but Tom was actually there for an incident. We used to have this teacher. She was mentally unstable. She, like, it sounds mean to say, because mental illness is a serious thing, but this woman was batshit. She was just completely mental. There were just so many things she did that, and like for ages, the school couldn't do anything. They just couldn't do anything about it. Like, I remember, like, apparently just like she went up to some random kid at lunch who was sat there happily eating his lunch. He had some custard, and she just went up to him and went, "Oh, I bet you'd like to put your dick in that." Just like, okay, like, I don't know. This is okay.
That's a sackable offence.
That's 0 to 100 very fast.
That's just one in a plethora of stories. But there was the incident, and
you know it's interesting when it's called the incident.
It was the incident, where basically she was teaching IT, and it was Tom's class, and apparently they just went into the classroom, and I don't know whether like someone was being a bit naughty or something and pissed her off, but she just snapped. She genuinely snapped, and apparently she just like started laughing, left the room, closed the door, and locked all the students in the IT room. And for a while, everyone was just kind of like, right, okay. And she just fucking went. She was gone. So I can't even remember how they got out, but Tom was in that class. I think eventually, like, someone must have knocked on the door and probably talked through it, and they must have got maintenance to get him out. But like, so that was the one thing. As it turned out, eventually she got quite suicidal, and basically she said to the school, "If you fire me, I'll kill myself." So for about another 3 years, they couldn't get rid of her. So they had this like seriously unstable teacher, but they just couldn't get rid of her because like it was like, well, if we fire her, she was the kind of person, she would have killed herself, definitely.
She needs to have an accident in the school.
So this is where
like stairs.
A lot of people get scared about these kinds of things when literally all they have to do is just go, right, we need to fire her, but we'll just call the police and have them be here because she could be sectioned for that.
She's a danger to herself.
I mean, this was how long? This would have been 15 years ago, maybe
Yep, they
14 years ago.
They still did it back then.
Oh no, but what I'm saying is like it was just. I feel like maybe in the last 10 years, mental illness is kind of
it's a lot bigger
more
now.
Yeah.
Back
Even
then,
I'd say just the last 5 years, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. But like back then, it wasn't spoken about as much,
No.
and like we were in a very rural area, so like maybe it's where I am, but like
Everyone knows
it was
everyone in
especially-
your area.
and it was a bit more of a taboo subject back then. But like she apparently, like when she was being a bit more normal, apparently she was a fantastic teacher. Like she was quite an enthusiastic science teacher, and she's one of those teachers that was like I never had her myself, but she was kind of strict, but
Well,
kind
I
of
hope not.
funny.
You're a student. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Jeez.
You don't know where I've been, boy. But no, fucking hell.
Well, it's been
Alright.
too far deep in crazy then. If
I was gonna say I put my dick in crazy once, never again.
I've done
Never
the
again, I
exact
like-
same thing, and I think we should make that the next podcast.
yeah.
Your dick in crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's Saturday sorted.
Yeah, that's Saturday sort of, but we do need to finish up. What I will say is I do have another school story that I would like to open up with Saturday as well.
I've got another one as well.
Yeah, I was going to try and
Okay.
end with it. Yeah, I was going to try and end with it, but obviously we're pushing time a bit too much now. So, well, I think
Yeah,
it was good, nice little thing.
Need my
So,
warm milk.
if anyone's watching or listening through Spotify, because we are now on quite a lot of different available applications, I guess platforms. That's the word I was looking for. If you want to give us any questions or any subjects you want to talk about, if there's any information that we've talked about that you believe we're wrong about and you want to correct us, just drop us an email at contextneededpodcast@gmail.com. We all have access to it, so we all do see, and if we get a good handful of questions in there, we'll probably do some Q&A podcasts as well. But today, from me, I'll say goodbye, and then from the others...
Bye.
Those are very, very delayed. I was worried you guys were just going to not do anything.
I was waiting for Ryan to go. I was like, usually Ryan
I'm going now. I need my warm milk in bed. Also,
I gotta go get me Horlick.
if you want to end that 1,000-day, guys, just hit us up. Hit us up on the email, please. Please.
Hit up Ryan. He's very desperate.
Well, we'll be back again Saturday at 9:00 p.m. GMT. So we'll see you guys then.
Goodbye.
See you later, shitlords.